Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are across this great wide world of ours. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Bureau of Indian Affairs from this point forward. I would call it the BIA. Recently, in the last couple of days, somebody reached out to me, and I don't know if, and this is the other reason I'm doing this video, is somebody sent me a note or a thing that Elon Musk did about wanting to cut government spending out of organizations. And they said, and I call myself Dr. B. Normally, like I said, yesterday someone called me yesterday, and I call myself Boyd T. Miller, PhD. I don't like to call myself Dr. Boyd because really my brother, who's a dentist, is a doctor because he's dentist school. And I got other friends that are medical doctors, like Dr. Law. He's a medical doctor. My nephew is a doctor. My niece is a doctor because they both help people. And I know so technically I don't really like calling myself a doctor. And when I'm in settings, for instance, where I'm at school, where I'm taking some law exams, I don't push the fact that people can call me Dr. Miller. I just say, just call me Boyd. But when I work in the some social settings or inner city settings, I just tell people, and they say, "Oh, you got a PhD," and then I said, "Yeah, if you want to call me anything, you want to address me that, you can call me Dr. B." So normally I tell people to call me. If they're interested in calling me a doctor, I say, we'll just call me Dr. B. But for the most, I tell people to call me Boyd T, which capital T rhymes with P, which stands for pool. So anyway, it's a little joke if you ever watched Music Man. So, but anyway, the point I want to talk about this is Elon Musk post something about cutting government spending, and I don't know. I know he is working with Donald Trump, and I don't know how I got the whatever you call the email or the thing from Elon Musk. But if anyone on here knows of Elon, please have him reach out to me because really, I do a lot with the BIA, and I've done a lot of research on this, and I think that's one agency that is overspent, over appropriated, and needs some changes in it. And even though I think they still do a good job, there's a lot of improvement. I'm a big believer that even though an organization shows signs of that, there still needs to be improvement. Excuse me, it's just the sinuses. And the issue becomes, if anyone does know him, please have him see this video because really this is an agency that is overspent and overused its usage within the organization because, like I said, I've talked about this as BIA, Bureau of Indian Affairs. Well, case in point is Washington Redskins for football, NFL. Cleveland Indians, they got rid of it, now they're calling themselves Garden. So a lot of people have got rid of the word Indian and call indigenous people or Native Americans. And yet the BIA still uses the Indian connotation, which honestly in itself I think is not a good thing. But this is an organization that needs to be revamped, retooled, in so much as I always talk about the Brent Spence Bridge, one of my things that I tell a lot of people, and it catches on, is that I call the bridge the dead bridge because the bridge really needs to be replaced, and it served its function when it was new. It served its function. In essence, it's the same thing with the Bureau of Indian Affairs at the time when it was founded by John C. Calhoun. And we're talking about, oh my God, John C. Calhoun. This is in the 1830s, and then when they were under the War Department. So, and now they're under the Interior Department. So, I mean, there was this transformation from the War Department to the Interior Department. And this is one of my research projects I'm going to work on sometime next summer. I might start. I've started writing a little bit about it, but it's just the fact of how the Interior Departments through the 1830s, 1820s, when it was founded, and how it transformed the BIA into what it is today. A lot of this had to be directions with the Interior Departments, and I'm a big believer. It looks like I got a halo underneath me, so kind of weird. But maybe it's because it says, "Oh, he's got an idea." So the issue becomes that that it needs to transform, like I said, and then I got this email from Elon Musk now, and this thing about him wanting to cut government spending, and like I said, he's not so necessarily if that comes from him or if it comes from the Trump administration, but there's some feedback that I can do about that, and like I said, once this election comes to fruition in the next 3 to 4 weeks, I'll have a better understanding on this. But I'm still going to push the idea with the BIA, whether who gets in after November 5th, because I really think it needs to be reformed and rechanged. And the issue becomes, let's make a more leaner and more positive aspect for Native American people on the reservation. And then the other big issue that I find that's important is water quality on the reservation. I did a book on that, and that is available on YouTube. And the issue becomes, we talk about the arid Southwest. This is really key in America's Southwest, especially when we talk about the Colorado Doctrine, which is water rights, or the California Doctrine, which is water rights, Oregon Doctrine, which is all water rights. A combination of about appropriation of the water. The problem with that, and the big issue with me concerning that, is though a lot of this focuses on agriculture, the issue becomes, what do we do with Native Americans that were forced onto the lands in the 1820s, 1830s? The first impetus, or the first thing of this, came under the Trail under Andrew Jackson, when he forced 5 civilized tribes out of the southeast part of the United States and into lands across the Mississippi into present-day Oklahoma. And that's another topic, because part of this was part of eastern Oklahoma, which now becomes Oklahoma itself. And a lot of these tribes live within eastern part of Oklahoma, which they petitioned to become a state. And the government at the time refused to do that. So the issue becomes a lot of issues concerning the BIA and the abuse and the neglect by Native Americans on these reservations. So if we can reform, transform, retool the BIA, this could be one of the steps forward for a positive dialect with Native Americans as well as the federal government, because we can talk about slavery and paying people. I'm not necessarily saying, I've seen arguments about this, that I see this, that certain people will say that the federal government should pay people that were bonded in slavery. That happened in 1860, that's long gone. And I'm not advocating paying people. I'm advocating that we should dismantle the BIA and create a new agency. And not necessarily that we pay people, but that we empower the tribal leaders to take on a more impact role within the reservations, and not necessarily give more bureaucracy to the federal government, but to create more empowerment to the tribes, because in essence, it really is up to the tribal leaders, because really in essence, and I hate to say in essence 3 or 4 times, it is the tribal leaders that have a better understanding what their tribes need, and not necessarily the federal government, which sometimes is very buffoonery to me, because really, even if you call up and say just want general information about a certain tribe, though they will tell you, well, you got to contact the tribe and talk to the tribal leaders. So it's like, well, why am I calling you anyway? And I should have realized after so many attempts to call people from the BIA that they will tell me the same thing. Well, please, sir, you need to call. Well, I usually answer the phone. This is Dr. Boyd Miller, to add some more credence or validation to what I'm trying to accomplish by calling that. And they'll say, well, Dr. Miller, you need to just call the tribe, and they'll give you that information. And needless to say, I do it over and over and over and over again, and get the same result. And then what do they call insanity? Keep doing the same thing over and over again and getting the same results. And that's what we're doing with the BIA. So, in essence, my point was, if anybody watches this video, please forward this over to Elon Musk. And I'm willing to have a meeting, or is the Indians or Native Americans, I don't like using the word Native Indians anyway, indigenous people would say, or I'm willing to have a powwow with him concerning the issues and how if I'm a big believer, actions speak louder than words. I'm willing to do the talk to make life better for the Native Americans. So with that said, that's enough for today's lecture, soapbox, or whatever. So please like and subscribe at the bottom of the channel there. Feel free to reach out to me at B. Thomas Miller Psych. That's B spelled out just the same way, B. Thomas Miller Psych at gmail.com. Anyway, folks, I'll try to get a video out sometime in the middle of the week, and hope to talk to you real soon. Take on the day and have a great day.